I'm Adam Marburger, and this is my story. So I grew up in Wood River, Illinois, 20 minutes from St. Louis, Missouri on the Illinois side. I grew up in a very blue-collar, middle-class household where we always kind of had what we needed, not necessarily what we wanted, but we had what we needed. Our needs were always met. And it was an incredible experience, playing sports, riding bikes. Back then, you could actually ride your bike in town without worry or fear of anything. And it was really, really, truly, like, it was, looking back now, it was a blessing to have that type of childhood that I had. And what happened to me over the years was I found myself wanting more and more. I looked at my father as a hard-working, shift-working in the brass mill, grinding it out. And I didn't want to be that. So like looking back at my childhood and my youth, like I knew what I didn't want. I didn't necessarily knew what I wanted, but I knew what I did not want. And that's what kind of led me into the route, my first entrepreneurial journey into a paper boy. A moment that changed everything for me was an afternoon when my father was paying bills. He would bring out this bill box and a lot of negative energy in the room. Our needs were met financially. It's not like we had an abundance, but I did know that the money was a very, very touchy subject in our household. And I'll never forget the anger and hostility that surrounded the room. And I remember reaching out to my supervisor at the Alton Telegraph, and I said, hey, is there any availability for additional routes? I would like to deliver. This time I was delivering 40 papers. I wanted to triple that. And they told me at first, like, how can you do this? I said, well, I'll get up extra early and I'll make it happen. And so my supervisor is a gentleman by the name of Todd, who's still a friend to this day with me. And he gave me 3 routes. And I would get up in the morning. I'm telling you, I'm 13 years old. I would get up at 5 in the morning. Not only the papers were delivered at the end of my driveway, I would grab them off these pallets and I would roll them and I would put them in plastic sleeves and I put them in my bags and I would go. And the entrepreneurial part came when it came to collections. See, I got paid almost nothing to deliver the paper. I got to listen to some cool music. You might know what a Walkman is. I used to listen to this Walkman, and I would listen to the music and listen to talk shows in the morning. But the money did not come until I collected, and I would show up and I would ask a few questions. And I still train people in these principles today. I would ask my client, was my paper on time every morning? My client would say, yeah, it was. And then I would ask a follow-up question. Was my paper wrapped in a plastic sleeve even when it wasn't raining? And they would say, yeah, it was a loaded question. And then follow-up to that was, here's the deal. I'm doing this to fund my first car. This is what I do for a living. I take great pride in this. I ask you to give with your heart. Just give what you feel I've earned. And by doing that repetitively over and over and over again to 100 plus clients, I was making more money at 13 than most people did at 21. So I understood the art and the science of servant leadership and asking for the sale, because the answer is always no if you don't ask. And I learned how to ask at a very young age. And that's what set me up in my journey in entrepreneurship, was my paper route at age 13. Yes, so I wear many hats. I play many roles, and the most important role and the role that I'm most proud of is my role as a father. I have 3 beautiful daughters that motivate me on a daily basis to just become a better version of myself so I can be better version of a father to them. Being a father to them is everything due to legacy. Here I don't have a son. I have daughters. And these girls, they own my heart and my wallet at some level, but they definitely own my heart. And legacy's everything. I want their kids' to reap the rewards of my work, of my efforts, of what I've done on this planet. It's really, really important to me. It's a non-negotiable at some level. I became an author because I wanted to share my story just to help one person. And in 2022, actually on my daughter Arabelle's birthday, I released You're the Effing Problem, a guide to getting out of your own way. The reason I wrote that book was to help people become more self-aware, because the reality is we're the reason we don't have the things we desire. And I challenge my readers to look in the mirror and make a bold decision on where are you now? Where do you want to go? And let's have some real clarity on that. And to be real self-aware on where we are in the moment to push forward. And so I wrote that book to help as many people as I could. And if I just helped one person, then I did my job. And then my recent book, The Servant Leading F&I Manager, I launched that at MADA in New Orleans in 2025 in January. And that reason I wrote that book, it's more of a manuscript to help managers become better leaders. Because there's many times where individuals get promoted off the sales floor to management and they're not truly leaders. And then you have upper management or ownership that doesn't train and lead and guide these individuals to become effective leaders. So I wrote that book to help individuals become better leaders within the four walls of their dealership. And I'm proud of that. Believe it or not, in an alternate universe, I should be somewhere else right now in a kitchen, because I love to cook. I love that busy Friday, Saturday night grind. I live for that. I should have been in the restaurant industry, but I ended up in the automotive industry. And I'll tell you what happened was, so my senior year in high school, I had enough credits to where I had foods and PE. And then I was in a co-op program. I left at 10 a.m. and I went to my restaurant, Cuzo's Pasta and Pizza. Something happened and it changed my life. You know, I'm sitting there with the owner of Cuzo's, Gordon Carver, who's been a mentor to me. He says, Adam, I got good news and bad news. I said, give me the bad. He says, we're closing the restaurant. Okay. I go, what the hell's the good? He says, you're coming with me to the dealership. You're going to sell cars. I thought it was absolutely crazy. I looked at him in that moment. I said, I'm going to sell cars. What? I'm not going to sell cars. So he takes me to the dealership, Alton Toyota Dodge, Dave Mungenass, Alton Toyota Dodge. And I sit with the general manager. And he says, hey, I want you to sell cars. And I said, hey, I'm not selling cars. I would rather start at an entry-level position. Put me in the shop. And I actually requested this. I look back and I laugh. I requested to be a porter. I started back when I was a porter in the late 90s, we were buffing cars. We were truly porters. And I took pride and joy into that. And about 3 months into that position, I had all the salespeople go, why are you not selling cars? Like, you friendly with everybody in the dealership. Everybody knows you. And then I eventually, I took that leap of faith that forever changed my life. And I started selling new cars. And I look back now and I'm so grateful for that, because I had so many people telling me, you should do this, you should do this. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this. And then over time, I folded in. And thank God for the automotive retail business, because without that, I wouldn't be here today.